Good evening, dear listeners. Or perhaps I should say, be careful who you trust tonight. This story begins with a man who was already dead and a phone call that came after he died. It was a rainy Thursday night when Detective Kofi Mensah got a call. A body had been found in room 12 of the old Golden Palm guest house, a place where people only used when they didn't want to be remembered. The victim? A wealthy businessman named Daniel Asare. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry, just a glass of whiskey, half full, and Daniel slammed in a chair, eyes wide open, as if he had just seen something impossible just before he died. Cause of death? Poison. But here's where it gets strange. At exactly 3 a.m., 2 hours after his estimated time of death, Daniel's phone made a call to his wife. Now, Detective Kofi Mensah visited the wife, Ama Asare, the next morning. She was calm, too calm. She told him, "Yes, he called me, but he didn't speak. I only heard breathing." Then Ama walked closely to the detective and whispered in his ears, "It's not what it seems." Detective was aback. He frowned. "Dead men don't make phone calls." Back at the crime scene, something else stood out. Room 12 had been booked under a false name, but the ID used, it belonged to Daniel's business partner, Kwame Bedu. Now, here's where everything gets interesting. Detective Mensah brought Kwame in for questioning. Now, Kwame laughed nervously. "Yes, we met that night," he admitted, "but I left him alive. We had a drink, talked business, and I left around 11. "So you didn't poison him?" Detective asked. Kwame leaned forward. "If I wanted Daniel dead, I wouldn't use poison." Now, the autopsy report came in. The poison wasn't in the whiskey, it was in the ice, which meant whoever prepared the drink planned it carefully. But at the guest house, staff swore that they didn't serve him. That's when Mensah noticed something chilling. Now, the security cameras had been tampered with. All footage between 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. gone, except for one frame, a blurry image of a woman entering the hallway. It was Ama Asare, Daniel's wife. The detective confronted Ama. Ama didn't deny it. "Yes," she said quietly, "I went there that night." Detective leaned in and asked, "Why did you go there?" She smiled faintly. Then she said, "I went there to save him." Ama explained everything. Daniel had been receiving threats. Someone wanted him dead. So he told her to meet him at the guest house. When she arrived, he was already acting strange, paranoid. She poured the drink herself, Mensah thought. "But I didn't poison him," Ama insisted. "I left him alive. Someone else came after I left." "Who?" the detective asked. Ama hesitated. "I don't know, but Daniel did." That's when Mensah remembered the whisper from the first time he interrogated Ama. The whisper that said, "It's not what it seems." He went back to the room, looked again, the glass, the chair, the phone, and then he saw it. A tiny recording device hidden under the table. He played it. Daniel's voice. "You shouldn't have come," another voice replied. A familiar one. Kwame. But wait, Kwame said he left at 11. The recording timestamp 1:52 a.m. The detective rushed straight to arrest Kwame again. This time, Kwame didn't smile. "I didn't poison him," he said coldly. "But yes, I went back." "Why?" the detective demanded. Kwame sighed. "Because Daniel wasn't supposed to die." Now everything changed. Kwame revealed the truth from his perspective. According to him, Daniel had staged the whole thing, the threats, the secret meetings, even the poison. He planned to fake his own death, to disappear with millions of stolen money. Kwame was supposed to help him, but when Kwame returned that night, Daniel was already dead. So who killed him? The detective asked. Kwame looked at him in the eyes and said, "You are asking the wrong question." Mensah went back to the wife one last time. "Ama," he said slowly, "you said you went there to save him." "Yes, I did," she nodded. "But you also prepared the drink, didn't you?" She nodded. "And you knew about the fake death plan, did you not?" There was silence. Then she smiled. Not softly this time, but cold. She said, "I loved my husband, but I knew him. He would disappear, leave me with nothing, while he lived somewhere else with everything. So yes," she continued, "I changed the plan." The poison was never meant to fake the death. It was meant to make the death real. "And the call?" the detective asked. Amma tilted her head and said, "I called myself using his phone." "Why?" the detective whispered. She said, "To make sure that you would never believe something so simple." Detective Mensah closed the case. Officially, Daniel Asare poisoned by wife. But there was one thing he never explained. The call lasted 47 seconds. Amma admitted she made that call, but the phone record showed something impossible. The whisper, "It's not what it seems," came after the line had already disconnected. So tell me, if the call had already ended, then who was still speaking? Good night.